Seven-figure businesses are not built on manual processes. They're engineered through strategic automation that eliminates operational friction. I transformed my business from constant chaos to streamlined precision by connecting ClickFunnels, Typeform, ActiveCampaign, Calendly, and Airtable through powerful Zapier workflows that eliminated a ton of manual work that was draining on the team's productivity. And before I got into automation and really streamlined this type of thing, it was an absolute nightmare. I had to constantly double check people's work, we had to log on all the time, and important tasks were always falling through the cracks. But when I implemented this automation ecosystem, it slashed my operational costs, we were able to capture 100% of qualified leads, and it accelerated our revenue growth by eliminating the invisible bottlenecks suffocating our scalability. And it isn't about adding more technology, it's about creating intelligent connections between the tools that you already use. In this video, I'm going to reveal the exact automation blueprint that generated over $1.2 million in additional revenue and turned our business into a precision engineered growth machine. So let me walk you through the exact Zapier workflow that transformed our customer acquisition process. All right, so this is the Zapier or Zapier homepage. I literally hear it called both of those things all the time, but I'm just gonna call it Zapier. The setup process is extremely easy. I recommend starting free with Google. Now, one pro tip here is I have a specific account that my IT people can access that I can also access. And so if I ever start free with Google, I'm going to have them do it with that account. And that way I just make the entire process and workflow extremely easy while not risking any security breaches. Now, by the way, this is not some kind of affiliate video. I don't even have an affiliate link for Zapier. However, if you want me to, I can put an affiliate link down below, but you can just go to zapier.com and here's the pricing right now. If you pay for it annually, it's about $19.99 per month, and that's 750 total tasks per month. Now, my team has the professional plan and we have about 2,000 tasks per month. So we pay about $49 a month for this. With that being said, you can probably get started with the 750 tasks per month. And if you use more than that, just go ahead and upgrade. Now, if you want to pay monthly, you don't want to pay yearly, yearly would be about $239 and you'd save about 33%, then you can pay monthly and that's going to be about $30 a month. That is an option as well. All right, so now I'm going to go over the most important fundamentals of creating a Zap. And just as an example, we're going to be connecting Typeform to Airtable and we're going to be setting up a Slack notification. Now, if you're not familiar, Typeform is basically a tool that a lot of people who run paid ads use because it integrates into landing pages and it also integrates with Calendly. And so you can basically have people answer questions to determine if they are qualified or not. And if you're not familiar with Slack, it is a phenomenal messaging platform that I highly recommend using if you run a business. And we actually made a video all about how we use Slack as well, which you can check out. I'll link it up here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and create a Zap. You're gonna go here, click create. You're gonna go new Zap. Now, there is an AI that helps you out. This is Copilot, so this is a really useful AI. A lot of people use this for coding, and this can definitely help you to set up Zaps, but we're just gonna assume for whatever reason, it's not a common Zap that you're trying to set up, and here's how you do it manually. So we're gonna click on this right here, and then we are going to search for Typeform. Typeform pops up, you're gonna click it, and then we're gonna go to trigger event. Now, this is actually the only one you need for Typeform, so that's why it's the only option. So we're gonna click that. So when we created this account, we did it with this email, which is blurred out right here. But if for whatever reason it's not there for you, you would just connect the email. So you'd click here and connect the account. And you can also click change if you don't like the email that you set it up with. And then when that's set up, you'd go ahead and click continue. And then we would go ahead and select a form here. So this is the part where on Typeform, you would have created some type of form on there, obviously. So it would likely be asking your prospects questions to make sure that they're qualified, and you would select that form. So in this particular case, I'm gonna select the test form. And then once you've selected it, you basically just click continue. And then a great feature of Zapier is you always test it right when you set it up. So that's something that you'd always wanna do. You wanna go ahead and test the trigger. So you'd click test trigger. And you can see here, we found records in your Typeform account. We'll load up to 3 of the most recent records that have not appeared previously. And you saw that a new record popped up, that's entry A. So that means that it worked. And so we would click continue with selected record. So we are actually gonna zap that directly into Airtable, which is basically a super complicated version of Google Sheets that's also incredibly useful, but you definitely don't have to use that. and we're using it just to keep records. So it's basically like a super useful database. So we're gonna type in Airtable here, click on Airtable, and then we're gonna go to choose an event, create record, and continue. Then you'd click up here. Then you would select the table that you set up on the Airtable side. So first you would select the base, which is also another way of saying like the workspace on the Airtable side, and you'd click the right one. And then you go to the table, and then you'd click the table that you set up specifically for this data. And this is where you would add the entries from the type form. So this one says name here, you could go to plus, type name. So you'd select the first name here, and then you would actually click space and then last name. Now, if you don't put a space in between, it's just gonna have the first name and the last name together with no space. Then you're gonna go to email, and it's the same procedure. Type email here, you're gonna click email, and then you go to income, and it's pretty obvious here what this is. You go to income, and you can see here it's asking what is your monthly income. And so you just go ahead and select it, and then you would go continue. And then as always, you wanna make sure that you test the step. And you can see for the field name here, it's test make test. So we're gonna click publish, and that means the Zap is working. So now let's go over to Airtables just to make sure that it's working. And we see that in the Airtables that we created, there's name, email, and income. Perfect. And just to test it out, we're actually gonna go to a test form and submit it again. And that's something I highly recommend, is always make sure that you test things out multiple times, because shit happens. So I'm gonna type in the name here, test, and we always say something along the lines of like McTesterson or something like that, just so that other people know that it's a test. One thing that is absolutely incredibly annoying is when you type in a real name with a real email, and then the sales team actually follows up with them and does a bunch of work because they're not aware that it's a fake email and a fake name. So always make sure to put an obviously fake name when you do this stuff. And we have a special test email that we always use as well that everyone knows is the test email. And then we're gonna go ahead and click OK. Now we're going to choose a monthly income. I'm actually gonna go ahead and select the middle one here. And I'm gonna type in some information. And also always make sure to follow the instructions that are on this screen right here. And now we're gonna go back to Airtable just to make sure that all of the zaps work. And as you can see, it worked. So we've got Test McTesterson, which is of course different than Test McTest. And this person makes $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Now, one thing that you can do, especially if you're selling a high ticket product, is people that make below a certain amount would get redirected to a page where maybe they just get a free offer or something like that. They get some, free material that they can study. People that make in between 5 and 10,000 could get redirected to a triage call, which is basically a 15-minute call to make sure that they are qualified for the offer. And then people that make $10,000 and above would get directed straight to the closer, just as an example. So this alone is probably going to make you like 50 to 100% more money than if you're not doing it, because your sales team isn't going to be wasting time with unqualified prospects. And there's a million different little tricks to make sure that your sales team is never wasting time with unqualified prospects. And these are things that I teach people inside of my program, Content Growth Engine, where we teach busy business owners how to make money, how to grow, and how to get clients from YouTube. Link is down below if you're interested and you want to check it out. All right, so now we're gonna show you how to actually do this into Slack as well, because this is a really useful thing where when you get somebody who is qualified, it can get zapped directly into your Slack. And so people know to follow up with that lead immediately. So we're gonna go to the top right here, same exact one. We're gonna go edit zap, and then we're gonna go to the end and we're going to go add step. Then we're going to search for Slack, click on it, and we're going to choose an event. Now there's a lot of different options here because there's so many awesome things that you can do with Slack, which we'll actually show you later. But for this particular one, we're gonna actually just choose channel message, and we're gonna click on send channel message. And then you're gonna have to sign into your Slack. So just go ahead and click sign in. I'm gonna go ahead and do that very quickly. Click allow, and then you're gonna go ahead and click continue. And then you select the channel. And in this particular case, we created a test channel, but obviously you would want to zap it into the appropriate channel. So for instance, you could create a channel called type form submissions and then zap it into there. We're just gonna do test. Then you go to message test and you're gonna type in new type form and then enter to go down, and then name, and then always make sure to type a space unless you want it to have no space. And then we're gonna click the plus button. Then we're gonna type in name here, first name, then space, last name, and then click enter again. Then we're gonna type in email, space, type in email here, click that, then click enter again. And then we're gonna type in income, space again, we go to plus, and then we're gonna go to the question, how much is your monthly income? Click that, and then we're good. So it's gonna ask send as a bot, we click yes, and you can just name the bot whatever you want. We're gonna name it Zapier just to organize things. And then you can choose a bot icon if you want. And then you do a semicolon and you type in fire, for instance, on Slack. That's how you make the fire emoji pop up. And then put another semicolon at the end. Now there's other stuff you can do, but you don't really need any of that. And so you can just go ahead and press continue. And then you can go ahead and test the step. And then you'd go to Slack, you'd open the test channel. And as you can see here, all of that just got automatically zapped directly into the Slack. So we're gonna go back to Typeform. I'm gonna type in some random stuff. Test, random last name. Gonna press OK. We're gonna go less than 5,000 this time. And just something random, submit. Don't forget to subscribe now. And then when the test worked, everything was great. We don't need to change anything. Just go ahead and click publish. You can type in the version name or something like that. Some people have methodologies for this. Go ahead and click publish. And then we're going to go ahead and test it out. So I'm going to type in test, make test 2, then the test email, okay. We're going to select less than $5,000 this time. And then we're going to just put something random there, submit. Don't forget to subscribe now. And then we're going to go back to Slack and see if it worked. And as you can see, test McTest 2 is right there. Perfect. Now I'm just going to show you some other really cool stuff that you can do with Zapier. You can integrate it with Stripe, for instance, which is incredible. So just as an example, if you ever get a dispute or if there's ever a refund, you can make a Zap for that. If there's ever a failed payment, you can make a Zap for that. If there's ever a payment, you can make a Zap for that. If there's a payment with financing specifically, you can make a Zap for that. And all of this gets zapped immediately into Slack. So you can see it all pop up right inside of your Slack, which you probably spend a lot of time in every day anyways. And you can even have it notify specific members of your Slack too. So if there's somebody who needs to onboard a client, for instance, they can automatically get notified. And it's not just Slack, you can also have them emailed too. Now, I think the wheels are probably turning in your head on how you could use this in your business. It is insanely useful. In fact, I know business owners that make 8 figures a year that don't even have a traditional CRM. They just use Zapier combined with their Slack. But if you do have a CRM like Airtables, Asana, ClickUp, etc., you can combine Zapier with that as well. So here's an example of one of the Slack channels that we have. It's incoming payments for the low ticket product. And every single time somebody buys this, it gets zapped directly into the Slack. Here's another one that we have for Calendly bookings. So every single time that someone books a call with us, it gets zapped right into this channel. And you can see here that one of my favorite team members accidentally typed taking my break in this channel. And I'm gonna type back, welcome to YouTube. Here's another really good one, canceled bookings. So anytime that someone cancels their Calendly call, it's gonna show up here. That can obviously be incredibly important as well. Here's another one where any Typeform or Jotform submission that happens across all of our accounts will actually go directly into this channel. And here's another channel called failed payments. And this can be extremely useful. For instance, if one of your clients is on a monthly plan and for some reason their card doesn't work because it expired or it doesn't have any money, etc., this will inform people and then the correct people can follow up with them immediately to make sure that it gets paid. So obviously, there's many other things that we use Zapier for. It's an incredibly useful tool. And one thing that you can do is actually upload all of your SOPs into an AI like ChatGPT or Claude, and then ask it what things that you do regularly could be automated using Zapier. And it'll give you some pretty good suggestions. Plus, you probably have a lot of great ideas in mind right now. Now, if you want to know the proper processes for creating content on YouTube, again, for busy business owners, then we do have a free guide on exactly how to do that. I'll put that down in the description and the pinned comment below. And you can also insert that guide into something like Claude, use the prompt that we just talked about before, and it'll give you really good suggestions for how you can integrate Zapier, Slack, whatever CRM you're using for content creation. Now, there are real-time AI assistants if you need help with the tech setup side of things. Although Zapier is pretty user-friendly, Google AI Assistant will literally tell you exactly what you need to do if you're trying to set up different types of zaps because it can literally see your screen. So if you need help with that, you can use Google AI Assistant. You can also hire somebody on Fiverr, Upwork, etc., or you can hire somebody to do tech support for you. Now, if you're interested in how I started this 7-figure business and got to over 100,000 a month on YouTube, then go ahead and click this video right here because I'll describe exactly how I did it.